Disclaimer. This video is for fun only. No bullying intended. PS. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, please.
So unless you've been living in the mountains, you know all about PewDiePie versus T-Series. On one side, we've got PewDiePie with the support of people like Mr. Beast, Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, and a whole bunch of others, fighting against the whole entirety of India in the form of its largest media company, T-Series, who is at some point going to take over as the #1 most subscribed to channel on YouTube. It's a fascinating thing to watch, even though we all know it's gonna happen sooner or later. I mean, it may have even already happened by the time I'm uploading this, but it's a really nail-biting situation, and everybody on the western side of the planet is watching this. How long can PewDiePie stop the inevitable? I have no idea, but I'm not here to talk about that. I want to take a look at this from a different angle, because this is larger than PewDiePie and T-Series. Everyone's preoccupied with the sub gap. Oh no, the sub gap is getting smaller, when in fact this is a much larger issue, and the way we deal with this will define YouTube culture in the long term. This is gonna ruffle some feathers, I know that, but today I want to talk about why the rise of T-Series is actually good for YouTube. And in order to do that, we need to look back at the evolution of this platform. YouTube started out in 2005 in San Mateo, California as a small American startup company. It's difficult now to imagine what it must have been like for these three guys to create YouTube from nothing, because this platform is ubiquitous at this point. It's everywhere. That's like trying to imagine what it must have been like in the room where Donald Trump was born. I can see the head. I can see the head. He's coming out. He's coming out. He looks kind of weird. I'm gonna build a wall. It's gonna be the greatest wall of all time. It's gonna be... It didn't take too long for YouTube to catch on. It was bought by Google, and it quickly became one of the largest content-sharing platforms on the internet. The timing of this was very important, because YouTube came up as the internet was going through this sort of puberty phase. So I guess you could say that YouTube was one of the pimples popping up on the pubescent face of the internet. So nowadays, as the internet hits a state of maturity, as well as YouTube along with it, foreign ecosystems are developing all over the world. YouTube does not belong to America anymore. It does not belong to English-speaking countries, and it hasn't for quite a while. For example, in Romania, there's somewhere between 15 and 20 channels with over 1 million subscribers, and none of them speak English, except, of course, for your boy. And the same goes for any other country with access to the internet, or I should say, unfiltered access to the internet. Because I spent a month in China last year, and I had this conversation with someone, and they were like, so what do you do in life? And I was like, oh, I make YouTube videos. And this girl in her early 20s was like, what's that? So, except for China, every country has its own YouTube ecosystem. And recently, India has been growing exponentially in that sense. And because of the sheer amount of people that live there, T-Series is inevitably at some point going to surpass PewDiePie. Now, it sucks that a company is taking that #1 spot. And there's certainly a conversation to be had about how YouTube is becoming increasingly more corporate. But I choose to look at the bright side of this. This phenomenon speaks to how the internet is becoming widely available all over the world. Along with T-Series, we're gonna see a lot of upcoming Indian creators. Most of them, of course, will stay within their Indian bubble, but a number of them will penetrate the larger international YouTube market, just like I have as a Romanian guy, just like PewDiePie has as a Swedish